Most people overestimate what they can do in a single day, but drastically underestimate what they can transform in 6 months. 6 months. That's what we're going to talk about today, how you can completely change your life over the next 180 days. And why 6 months? Let me tell you, a year is too long to wait, and a month is too short to see meaningful change. But 6 months, that's the sweet spot. It's long enough to produce powerful results, yet short enough to keep you motivated, focused, and committed. Isn't that interesting? What fascinates me is that most people spend more time planning a vacation than they do planning their lives. They spend hours searching for hotels, flights, destinations, but they don't spend even 30 minutes defining what they truly want for their future. Isn't that incredible? But you're different. You're here. And you're here because something inside you knows that it's time for a change. Not a superficial change, not a slight adjustment, a real change. One that's felt deep within, reflected in your habits, your results, and your entire outlook on life. Let me ask you something directly. If you keep doing exactly what you're doing now, same habits, same pace, same excuses, same decisions, where will you be 6 months from now? Same job, same routine, same problems, same sense of being stuck? Because what you don't change, you're choosing. Well, Lord, let that sink in. What you don't change, you're choosing every single day. The beautiful thing about a 6-month plan is that it gives you something I call realistic urgency. You don't have the luxury of procrastinating because 6 months will be here before you know it. But it's also enough time to transform your body, your mind, your income, your relationships, and your entire life, if you truly commit. And here's where transformation begins, because change doesn't come from doing 4,000 different things. Real change comes from doing 6 or 7 fundamental things 4,000 times. Repetition is the mother of skill, and consistency is the father of success. That's the foundation we're going to build on. The first pillar of your 6-month transformation is called clarity. You must be absolutely clear about what you want, because vague goals produce vague results, but sharp, specific goals generate powerful outcomes. Write this down. Clarity is power. When you're clear, the universe has a curious way of opening doors. But most people live in confusion. They know exactly what they don't want, but can't define with precision what they do want. They can go on for hours about what's wrong with their lives but if you ask them what they truly want, they freeze. That's why, before taking another step forward, I want you to do an exercise that will shift your entire mindset. Tonight, grab a pen and paper and write down exactly how you want your life to look 6 months from now. Be specific. Don't write, "I want to be happy." Write, "I want to increase my income by 40%. Read 12 books, lose 10 kilos, start my online business, and wake up every day full of energy." See the difference? The mind responds to precision, not vagueness. When you have clarity, you don't wake up wondering what to do. You already know. You already have the vision, and that vision acts like a magnet, pulling in the right actions, decisions, and opportunities. Without clarity, you drift, you put out fires, you react, and that's not living, that's surviving. Now comes the second great pillar, your life philosophy. Your philosophy is how you interpret what happens to you. And this is crucial. It's not what happens that defines your destiny, it's what you do about what happens. It's not the wind that determines the direction of the ship. It's how you set your sails. You can face storms, sunny days, unexpected challenges, but if you adjust your sails correctly, you'll reach your destination. That's life philosophy. That's mindset. Success is not magical or mysterious. Success is the natural result of consistently applying simple fundamentals. But here's the challenge. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. It's easy to read 10 pages of a good book. It's also easy not to. It's easy to wake up 1 hour earlier to work on yourself. And it's just as easy to hit snooze and leave it for tomorrow. And that tomorrow becomes we starts mouse. We X months. Hisim. We years. So these next 6 months aren't about dramatic overnight change. They're about small, consistent, focused decisions, because that's where real transformation happens. Up to this point, we've laid down the first 2 foundations, absolute clarity and a powerful philosophy that empowers you no matter the circumstance. In the next section, we'll talk about one of the most transformational elements of all, the power of association. The people you share your time, energy, and conversations with. Because believe me, you can't surround yourself yourself with toxic people and expect a healthy life. See you in the next part. Now that you've gained clarity on what you want and started adjusting your life philosophy, it's time to talk about one of the most powerful and often overlooked factors in your personal transformation, the power of association. And this principle is simple, but life-changing. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that for a second. Your habits, your way of thinking, your income, your decisions, your expectations, everything is being shaped by your closest environment, not by distant influences, but by the everyday conversations, the attitudes that surround you, the thoughts you hear repeatedly. This is where many people sabotage their growth without realizing it. They want to change their lives, but they keep surrounding themselves with the same voices that are holding them back. They want new results, but won't let go of old company. And over the next 6 months, you'll have to make some tough but necessary choices. Some people will need to be loved from a distance, and that's okay, because this isn't about cutting ties with everyone. It's about protecting your energy, your vision, and your growth. There are 2 types of people on your journey, those who inspire you and those who drain you. Your job from this moment on is clear. Increase your exposure to those who lift you up and reduce your exposure to those who bring you down. This isn't selfishness, it's emotional intelligence. Every conversation matters. Every exchange of energy either adds to you or subtracts from you. And if you're serious about reaching a new level, you have to elevate the quality of your relationships. Ask yourself this question with brutal honesty. Do the people I spend the most time with make me better? Do they challenge me to grow? Do they encourage me to stretch beyond my comfort zone? Do they celebrate me when I win? If the answer is no, then you've got some work to do. And this leads to another concept that is deeply connected to association, your commitment to excellence. Most people are not operating at full capacity. In fact, the average person functions at about 20% of their true potential. Why? Because they haven't made a solid decision to pursue excellence. They're just trying to get the descent through the day instead of getting something from the day. That's the key difference. Some people just survive their days. Others extract value from every single one. There's a world of difference between going through life and growing through life. Over the next 6 months, you must choose the second path, the path of intentional progress, the path of consistent improvement, because no one becomes their best self by accident. Every step is made with intention. Every habit is built on purpose. Every day becomes an opportunity, not an obstacle. And to make this work, you need to adopt a fundamental pillar, the discipline of self-documentation. Yes, you heard that right. Starting today, become a serious student of your own life. Keep a journal, track your progress, write down your insights, your mistakes, your patterns, your decisions, because what gets measured improves, and what gets documented solidifies. You don't need to write a book every night, just capture the process, because the smallest adjustments, when repeated with intention, create massive transformation. Here's an example. If you decide to read just 10 pages of a good book every day, in 6 months, you'll have read around 1,800 pages. That's roughly 6 or 7 full books. Can you imagine what that level of input would do for your mind, your ideas, your self-confidence? It's not magic, it's focus, it's consistency, it's repetition. Now let me tell you something powerful. Success is not something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become. Don't chase success. Work on yourself so intensely, so deeply, that success has no choice but to find you. So your focus over the next 6 months shouldn't be solely on external results. It should be on your internal evolution, on building new skills, strengthening your mindset, developing your self-worth, and crafting a new identity. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job, because when you grow, everything around you grows too. And here comes another vital principle, personal investment. I'm not just talking about money, though that matters too. I'm talking about investing in the most valuable asset you have. You. Ask yourself, how much have I invested in my personal growth in the past year? I don't mean entertainment or eating out. I mean training, books, courses, mentorships, coaching, experiences that make you better. Most people will spend $100 on dinner without thinking twice, but hesitate to spend that same amount on a seminar or a book that could change their entire future. That must change. Over the next 6 months, make a bold promise. Invest in your mind like never before. Because if someone is where you want to be, it's because they know something you don't. Learn from them, listen, observe, study, apply. That's the difference between mediocrity and excellence. The willingness to invest before you see the reward. This journey is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about starting with what you have, where you are, with what you know, and moving forward. In the next part, we'll explore the principle that multiplies every effort, incremental improvement, because you don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to improve a little bit every day. And the result will surprise you. See you in the next part. By now, you've understood that clarity, life philosophy, associations, and personal investment are the foundation for a different life. But there's a principle that powers everything we've discussed so far, one that turns the small into the significant and the simple into the transformative. I call it the miracle of incremental improvement. And this is where real magic happens. Most people want to change their lives overnight. They want fast results, instant transformation, immediate success. But true success doesn't work like that. Real success is built drop by drop, step by step, day after day. Think about this. If you improve just 1% every single day for 6 months, by the end of that time, you would be 180% better than when you started. That might not seem like much at first, but the power of compounding improvement is enormous. Small actions, repeated consistently, lead to extraordinary results. This is the law of compound growth, and it's one of the most underestimated forces in personal development. Most people are waiting to make a big move. They're waiting for the right moment, the perfect mood, or the ideal time. But here's the truth. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Success is not built on giant leaps. It's built on 1,000 small decisions made correctly day after day, week after week, month after month. Now let's talk about another critical element, the power of goals. Yes, you've heard this before. Everyone talks about goal setting, but I want to take you deeper because most people set goals based on limitation, not desire. They ask themselves, what do I think I can achieve? Instead of asking, what do I truly want? That distinction changes everything. Over the next 6 months, I want you to set goals that scare you a little. If your goals don't stretch you, they won't transform you. But here's the key. Once you have those big goals, break them down into daily actions. You can't just say, I want to write a book. You have to say, today I'll write 1 page. You can't just say, I want to lose 10 kilos. You feel or morpho, adsaki ang bibir, policy and feeing, detail and degree also have to say, now my teki. Today, I'll move my body for 30 minutes. You can't just say, I want to increase my income. You have to say, today I'll send 3 strategic messages. The big dreams are only achieved through small, repeated efforts. Because success is not about what you do occasionally. It's about what you do consistently. And now I want you to look at something else that has a massive impact on your progress. Something that most people overlook, your environment. Your environment shapes your behavior, your energy, and your mindset more than you realize. You could have clarity, powerful goals, and deep commitment. But if your environment drags you into chaos, clutter, or distraction, your growth will suffer. Over the next 6 months, design an environment that supports your goals. And I don't mean luxury or perfection, I mean intention. Clean your space, organize your home, create a work area that inspires you, remove distractions, add visual reminders of your vision. Place your books where you see them, write your goals and put them on the wall. Let your environment speak to your future, because your surroundings will either elevate you or erode you. And here's a concept that changed my life forever. You can't change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction in a moment. Let that sink in. You can't change your life in 1 day, but today you can make a decision that shifts everything. You can change your direction, and that changes everything else. 1 conversation, 1 decision, 1 new routine, that's all it takes to begin the shift. And this next part is vital. You don't need more resources. You need more resourcefulness. The most successful people in the world didn't start with everything figured out. They just used what they had and moved forward. So stop focusing on what you lack. Start maximizing what you already have. Your time, your energy, your network, your knowledge, your ideas. Over the next 6 months, squeeze every drop of value from what's already in your hands. And now we come to a life-altering concept, the power of standards. Your life will always rise or fall to the level of your standards. If you raise your standards, your life will rise to meet them. If you lower your standards, your life will drop. It's that simple. What you allow is what will continue. So ask yourself, what are you tolerating that you know you shouldn't? What have you normalized that you should have rejected a long time ago? Over the next 6 months, raise your standards in every area of your life: your health, your communication, your relationships, your money habits, your work ethic, your self-talk, your level of commitment. When you elevate your standards, something inside you changes. You stop accepting excuses, you stop settling, you start demanding more from yourself, and the world begins to respond. Here's what's fascinating. We tend to live up to our expectations. If you expect little, you'll get little. If you expect average, you'll get average. But if you begin to expect more from yourself and from life, your habits, your actions, and your mindset will align with that higher level. Up to this point, you've already learned that your transformation won't come from one massive act, but from small decisions made with relentless intention. In the next part, we'll talk about a powerful concept: the rituals that shape your identity. Because you are not what you do once in a while. You are what you do every day. See you in the next part. Up to this point, you've understood that true change happens when you commit to small, consistent improvements, raise your standards, and live with intention. But there's something even more powerful, something that silently builds or destroys everything you're working toward, your daily rituals. Your life is a direct reflection of what you do every single day. Not what you do once in a while, not what you do when you feel like it, but what you do consistently. And this is where many people go wrong. They believe that to change their lives, they need a revelation, a breakthrough, a life-altering moment. But what really changes your life isn't a single event. It's the small, repetitive actions you take every morning, every afternoon, every evening. Over the next 6 months, you must establish rituals that support the life you want. Want to improve your health? Create a daily ritual of moving your body, even if just 20 minutes. Want to expand your mind? Read every day, even just 10 pages. Want more focus and clarity? Journal every night. Want to grow your income? Reach out, create, study, connect daily. One of the most powerful rituals you can adopt is this: wake up 1 hour earlier every day. Just 1 hour. Let me show you what that means. 1 hour times 180 days equals 180 extra hours. That's more than 4 full 40-hour work weeks. 4 extra weeks to focus on your goals, your health, your projects, your transformation. Think about what you could accomplish with 180 hours of focused, undistracted time. And here's a principle that ties directly into this. Don't count the days. Make the days count. Time is the great equalizer. We all get the same 24 hours. The difference isn't in the clock. It's in how you use your time. Over the next 6 months, become a master of your time. Don't drift. Don't react. Don't just go with the flow. Plan your days. Prioritize what matters. Say no to what doesn't. Protect your energy like it's gold, because it is. Now let's talk about a principle that accelerates everything: accountability. Human beings will do more to avoid letting someone else down than they'll do to avoid letting themselves down. You can use this to your advantage. Over the next 6 months, find someone you trust: a friend, a mentor, a coach, a community, someone who will challenge you, check in with you, support you, and celebrate with you. Share your goals with them. Report your progress. Be honest about your setbacks. Let them hold you to your word. When you become accountable to someone else, your performance improves exponentially. Because now it's not just about intention, it's about integrity. And speaking of setbacks, let's be realistic. You're going to have some. That's not negative. It's life. There will be days when you don't feel like it, days when you slip, days when you question the process. But the goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to recover fast. Successful people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who get back up faster than anyone else. So don't aim to avoid mistakes. Aim to bounce back, to reset, to recalibrate, to continue forward with more clarity, not less. Because you're not defined by your failures. You're defined by how many times you choose to try again. And the more quickly you recover, the stronger you become. Until now, we've covered the power of rituals, of protecting your time, of holding yourself accountable, and of getting back up when life knocks you down. But there's another element that multiplies everything we've discussed so far: focus. Because in a world full of noise, distractions, and endless options, only those who focus win. And that's exactly what we'll dive into in the next part. Because where your focus goes, your energy, results, and life follow. See you in the next section. At this point, you already understand that your days are built by your rituals, that your time must be protected like treasure, and that you must hold yourself accountable and bounce back quickly when things get tough. Now, it's time to go deeper into a principle that changes everything, the power of focus. Whatever you focus on grows. Whatever you ignore fades. It's that simple. But most people live unfocused lives. They scatter their energy in 100 directions, trying to do everything and end up accomplishing almost nothing. They stay busy but not productive. They confuse movement with progress. Here's the truth that many avoid. Being busy is not the same as being effective. Over the next 6 months, your mission is to develop laser focus. That means eliminating distractions and pouring your energy into the few things that truly matter. Ask yourself daily, is this action moving me closer to my goals or pulling me further away? If it's not moving you forward, cut it. Simplify. Say no. Reclaim your focus. And remember, focus isn't just about avoiding external distractions. It's also about creating internal clarity. Because if you don't know where you're going, everything will distract you. But once you're locked in on a meaningful target, it becomes easier to stay the course. Now let me share something that most people never learn. Don't rely on motivation, rely on discipline. Motivation is fleeting. It's emotional. It comes and goes. It's like a warm shower. It feels good, but the effects don't last. Discipline, however, is a decision. It's a structure. It doesn't care how you feel. It just follows through. The most successful people in the world aren't more motivated than you. They're more disciplined. Over the next 6 months, you must train yourself to act regardless of how you feel. Let your commitments drive your behavior, not your emotions, because feelings are temporary, results are permanent, and as you follow through with discipline, there's something powerful you must remember. Celebrate your progress, not just the final result. Most people wait until they hit the big goal to celebrate, but that's a mistake. Why? Because that big moment may take weeks or months to arrive, and if you only celebrate then, you'll spend most of your time frustrated. Instead, learn to celebrate the daily wins, the consistency, the hard decisions, the small steps. Every time you act in alignment with your goals, you win, and that deserves recognition. When you celebrate progress, you build momentum. When you ignore it, you burn out. So don't wait. Be proud of every workout, every page read, every distraction resisted, every task completed. That's what builds the muscle of success day after day. Now let's take it even further. If you really want to accelerate your results, do what the most successful people do: study success. Success leaves clues, and if someone has achieved what you want to achieve, it's not by accident. It's because they've applied principles, habits, and systems that you can learn. So over the next 6 months, become a serious student of excellence. Read biographies, listen to interviews, and take notes, attend seminars, and surround yourself with high achievers. Soak up everything you can, because if someone is already living the life you want, they're not lucky. They're intentional. And here's the most empowering thought of all. For things to change, you must change. For things to get better, you must get better. For things to improve, you must improve. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were stronger. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for greater skills. Because when you grow, you become unstoppable. So far, you've learned how focus, discipline, daily celebration, and learning from success create unstoppable momentum. In the next part, we'll talk about a shift that takes everything you've learned and gives it deeper meaning, the power of contribution. Because when you grow and give and lead, you don't just change your life. You start changing the lives of others. So far, we've covered the importance of focus, discipline, celebrating progress, and learning from those who have already achieved what you want. But now, it's time to unlock a principle that gives your entire journey meaning. Without this, even if you achieve everything you've dreamed of, you'll still feel empty. That principle is the power of contribution. Here's the truth. Success without contribution is hollow. You can make money, you can reach goals, you can build a name for yourself, but if everything you're doing is just for you, eventually you'll feel that something is missing. Real fulfillment doesn't come from what you get. It comes from what you give. And this doesn't mean you need to save the entire world or donate millions. Contribution starts small. It starts with adding value wherever you are, with whatever you have. It could be as simple as sharing a lesson you've learned, encouraging someone who's struggling, teaching a skill you've mastered, or even just living as a consistent example of discipline and growth. Because here's the paradox. The more value you create for others, the more valuable you become. And life has a funny way of rewarding those who contribute. Opportunities flow toward givers. Doors open for those who lift others. Relationships deepen with those who add value. So over the next 6 months, ask yourself, how can I contribute today? It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be intentional. Now let me share something that can transform how you see growth. Did your income, your influence, your opportunities rarely exceed your level of personal development. If you want to earn more, you must learn more. If you want to impact more, you must grow more. If you want to be trusted with more, you must become more. This is why contribution is so powerful. It forces you to grow. The more you give, the more you have to stretch. And the more you stretch, the more you expand your life. But as you walk this path, there's something important to remember. The only competition that truly matters is with yourself. Most people waste energy comparing themselves to others. They look at what their friends are doing, what strangers post on social media, what colleagues achieve, and they feel small. They forget that their only real job is to be better today than they were yesterday. So stop competing with others. Start competing with your past self. Did you show up stronger today than you did yesterday? Did you grow more disciplined, more focused, more resilient? If the answer is yes, then you are winning. Because progress, not perfection, is what creates happiness. Now let's move into another pillar of transformation: the power of decisions. Take a moment to realize this. Your current life is nothing more than the accumulation of all the decisions you've made up until now. Every choice, big or small, has added up to create your reality. And here's the difference between the successful and the unsuccessful. Successful people make decisions quickly and they change them slowly. Unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and they change them quickly. And think about that. How many times have you hesitated, waiting for the perfect decision, only to waste weeks, months, even years? And then, once you finally decided, you abandoned it after a small challenge. That's the trap. Over the next 6 months, commit to becoming decisive. Don't wait for 100% certainty. You'll never have it. Act when you're 70% sure and adjust as you go. Because decisions create momentum, and momentum creates clarity. Every decision you make today is shaping your tomorrow. 6 months from now, your life will be the sum of the decisions you start making right now. So make them bold, make them aligned, make them with your future self in mind. And here's something powerful to remember. Success is not a destination, it's a direction. You don't need to know every step. You just need to make sure you're walking the right way. Don't chase perfection, chase progress. Because progress equals happiness. Now, let's talk about one of the most underestimated forces in personal growth: the power of gratitude. Gratitude turns what you already have into enough. Gratitude shifts your perspective from lack to abundance. And gratitude unlocks joy in the present moment, even while you're pursuing a better future. Over the next 6 months, I want you to adopt a simple but life-changing ritual. Keep a gratitude journal. Write down 3 things you're grateful for every single day. Just 3. That's it. Do you realize what that means? At the end of 6 months, you'll have recorded 540 moments of gratitude. Imagine the effect that would have on your mindset, your mood, your energy, because here's the truth. What you appreciate, appreciates. The more you express gratitude, the more reasons you'll find to be grateful. It's like training your brain to focus on abundance instead of scarcity. And here's something that ties everything together. Change is inevitable, but growth is optional. Everyone experiences change whether they want to or not. Time passes. Circumstances shift, life moves forward. But growth, that's a choice. And over these 6 months, you get to make that choice every single day. Choose growth, choose discipline, choose contribution, choose gratitude. And as you do, not only will your life transform, but the lives of those around you will be lifted as well, because your example will speak louder than any words. So far, we've uncovered that contribution, self-competition, decisive action, and gratitude are principles that elevate your life to a whole new level. But we're not done yet. In the next part, we'll talk about how to lock in these changes with higher standards, powerful rituals, and radical focus. Because once you raise your standards and design your daily life around them, everything shifts. You've seen that contribution, gratitude, and decisive action can elevate your life. But now we need to go even further to lock in these changes and turn them into a lifestyle you can sustain long term. That comes down to 2 forces, your standards and your rituals. And here's a principle you must never forget. Your life always moves in the direction of your standards. If you expect little from yourself, you'll get little. If you expect average, you'll get average. But if you demand more from yourself, if you raise the bar higher, your life will rise to meet those expectations. And here's something powerful. What you tolerate becomes your reality. If you tolerate procrastination, your life will be full of delays. If you tolerate excuses, your life will be full of justifications. And if you tolerate mediocrity, your life will be full of mediocre results. So over the next 6 months, commit to raising your standards in every area of your life. Don't just set higher goals. Set higher expectations for how you show up. Raise your standards in your health, your discipline, your finances, your relationships, your mindset, even in the language you use with yourself. Because here's the truth. You cannot live an extraordinary life with ordinary standards, and along with higher standards come your daily rituals. Remember this, you are not what you do once in a while, you are what you do every single day. Your rituals shape your identity. Your identity shapes your future. So what rituals will define you? Will you start each morning with clarity, exercise, and learning, or with chaos, distraction, and noise? Will you use the first hour of your day to scroll through social media or to invest in your growth? Will you end your evenings in autopilot or with reflection and gratitude? Because if you dedicate just one focused hour every morning to your most important goals, in 6 months, you'll have accumulated over 180 extra hours. That's 4.5 full work weeks invested purely in you. Think about what you could build, learn, and transform in that time. And this leads to another crucial point. Time is the great equalizer. Everyone has the same 24 hours. The only difference is what you choose to do with them. So stop spending your time. Start investing it. Now, let's reinforce something we touched on earlier, yet accountability. When you have someone to answer to, everything changes. Not because you're being policed, but because we are wired to honor our commitments to others more than to ourselves. So find an accountability partner. Join a mastermind group, hire a coach, create a system where your progress is visible, not hidden. Because once your goals leave your head and are shared with someone else, they become more real, more urgent, and more likely to happen. And still, no matter how strong your standards and rituals become, you will face setbacks. Let's not sugarcoat it. You will stumble, you will fall short, you will have days when nothing goes right. But here's the secret. The difference between those who win and those who quit isn't the size of their obstacles, it's the speed of their recovery. Losers stay down for days, weeks, sometimes years after a failure. Winners, they rise almost instantly. They don't let a bad day turn into a bad week. They don't let one setback define their story. So decide right now, every time you fall, you'll get back up faster. Every time you stumble, you'll adjust and keep moving, because your failures don't define you, your comebacks do. And to do this consistently, you'll need one more principle: radical focus. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your results grow. That means you must learn to eliminate the noise. Stop giving your attention to things that don't matter. Stop pouring your energy into distractions, gossip, or meaningless activity. Over the next 6 months, get crystal clear on your priorities and block out everything else. Don't major in minor things. Don't confuse activity with achievement. Because the truth is, you don't need to do more, you need to do less, but with more intensity and purpose. Up to this point, you've learned how raising your standards, building daily rituals, holding yourself accountable, recovering quickly, and sharpening your focus will transform not just your results, but who you are becoming. In the final part, we'll bring everything together. We'll close this journey with one powerful truth. 6 months will pass, no matter what. The only question is, will you look back with pride or with regret?